Good morning, Kingsley community. Pastor Colleen Weirman here from the Kingsley United Methodist Church doing another daily devotion for Wednesday morning, March 30, 2022. Finishing up Peace to You, a daily devotional from our daily bread. Matthew 28, verse 20. Jesus says, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. So this devotional is by David Roper. He writes, in 1922, American poet T.S. Eliot wrote the poem, What the Thunder Said, about the two disciples on the road to Emmaus. Who is the third who walks beside you? When I count, there are only you and I together. But when I look ahead, up the white road, there is always another one walking beside you. Eliot notes these lines were stimulated by the account of one of the Antarctic expeditions. It was related that the party of explorers at the extremity of their strength had the constant delusion that there was one more member than could actually be counted. There is indeed another walking beside us, Jesus said. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. What a magnificent promise. His presence accompanies us just as he accompanies the disciples during the days he walked this earth. He is with us in every circumstance of life, a fact that gives us courage when we have no other encouragement but his love. I am with you always, even to the end of the age, Jesus told his disciples. His promise looks beyond optimism to the end of the time itself. New life awaits us at the end of the journey. Here, there is always another walking beside us. How might it help you to take a moment to envision Jesus walking alongside you right now? Thirsty. How does that affect the way you approach the challenges you face? So remember, these are the disciples on the road to Emmaus after Jesus has been resurrected and he's appearing to over 500 people. I witnessed the risen Christ and the two disciples on the road to Emmaus because Jesus has died and everything has happened and they're sad and they're walking the road back to their house. Everything has changed for them, and yet everything stays the same. Yet here comes a third walking, and they don't recognize him. They don't recognize him until he breaks the bread of life for them. And then the scriptures come to life for them. And as soon as he does, he's gone. So to know that Jesus is walking alongside of us can be difficult at times because obviously we've never seen the risen Christ. Obviously we can't see him. I can't look around and see him. But yet neither could the disciples, and he was walking right next to them. And yet as soon as they took communion, their eyes were opened in a different way. And so this Sunday I'm going to talk about the bread of life, another I am statement of Jesus. I am the bread of life. And so we're going to talk about the fact that in John, Jesus feeds the 5,000. Then he talks about being the manna from heaven that came down from heaven, from the ancestors. You remember wandering the wilderness. God provided manna, this weird bread that said, what is that? Is this white bread that just would land in the morning and they'd collect what they needed for the day and no more, because if they collected more, it would rot. So, but the manna is more than just food, physical food for them, provision from God. It is trusting God that he will meet your needs, even though it seems like he's not there, because the Israelites complained all the time. They were hungry, they were thirsty, and God continually provided for them just what they needed. Not more, or what they thought they needed, just what they needed. And yet he was with them all the way through that journey. And they complained and they, sinned against God, and then they turned back to God. So even though, they had actual pillar of, they had fire by night and a cloud by day that represented God. God was with them through those symbols that they could see. Today it is communion, a way, and the sacrament of baptism, where we can experience the physical word and will of God through those sacraments, something we can physically touch and partake in. So that's why communion is so special. So I'm going to preach on the bread of life. Not sure where I'm going there. Not sure what that's all about. It's exhausting. Anyway, and if any pastor tells you, oh, I know exactly what that's about, The crowd thought they knew exactly what they wanted from Jesus, which was another sign for them to feed them. Give us another miracle like you did of feeding us with that little bit of loaf and 5 loaves and 2 fish. We want another sign, and then we'll believe. And Jesus is saying, I'm the bread of life standing right in front of you. You must trust and believe that I am He. I am the one the Father sent, just like He sent the manna from heaven. I am the one from heaven. I am the Word of God that makes known God's will and who the invisible God is. And when you believe, you'll have life. When you eat and drink, eat of my body, drink of my blood, you will have life. And so we know from that point on, Jesus walks to the cross, and His body and blood would literally be given for them and the whole world for life. And then we know that in the time of sacrament, Jesus comes to us again. So He came to us once on a cross to, for forgiveness, but He also comes to us in the sacrament every time we take it and partake in it with His forgiveness, His acceptance, making us whole, giving us abundant life, transforming us. So that's why the sacraments are so special. So if you're going to be online, you're not able to get here at 9 Sunday in person, then go ahead and grab some juice and some bread. Doesn't matter what it is, milk and bread. And I'll go ahead and pray a prayer over it at 9 a.m. this Sunday. And then you can partake in the bread and the whatever it is, juice, milk, the very body and blood of Christ, or the bread of life and the cup of salvation. That's probably how I'll say it this Sunday. So remember, God comes to us again through those sacraments in a special, tangible, physical way, a way that we can understand and touch and feel and receive. So that's why it's so special. So I don't know what you're going to do today. Hopefully in your office working. If you have to be out on the road, be careful. It's frightening out there. And I think it's supposed to get better, but I don't know. And it's warm and weird. And I got this really hot sweater on. So I'm like, why? I don't know how to dress. I saw this Facebook meme. No matter which coat you pick in Michigan in spring, it'll always be the wrong one. It's true. All right. I will see you Sunday at 9 in person or live stream right here. We'll talk about the bread of life, Jesus.